Thank you, Minister, for coming in and for providing us with all this information as well in your opening address. And a lot of the questions have been answered already for me as well, and I really welcome it as well. It's grand. You really did move very quickly in your department as well, and which is fantastic to see. But I suppose I'd love to find out a bit more detail about the management, like how. How do you manage? Is it going to be a board of, in the settings themselves, is it going to be a board of directors? Who's going to, and even if there is, who will support the manager of any of the settings? Is it just a bit more kind of detail around that would be great.
No, I was just making the point. It'll be similar to any not-for-profit that we have currently.
Okay.
Any we'll say like the community services or whatever.
So it'll be voluntary board.
Yeah, it will be the exact same setup.
Okay.
And I want to acknowledge many of them bring extraordinary expertise already to the field, but I don't want to say that if it's not an existing provider in the field, I'm not going to cut off the opportunity for another new person working in that area, but it would have to be working in the area of not-for-profit.
Okay, so it'd be a voluntary board of management.
Exactly.
And could you see then extra support maybe coming from the manager of the setting? Would they have external support, or would the board be their support, I suppose?
Well,
in the voluntary community sector.
No, and I take your point. It's envisaged presently that it will be run exactly as if it were being set up last month or 2 months ago, long before this came into being, that it's a similar setup. But obviously, and I made the point earlier, I think in this first year there will be huge learning. Of course. And that's why we have an openness, as I said, to look at different types of models. I'm not going to say that one model is going to be the better model. As I said, we say the department purchasing. Maybe the better model might be somebody with a, like an ETB, purchasing, or a local authority providing the building. We have that sense of openness so that we can refine it and define it all the more going forward. But specifically in relation to your question around the running of it, exactly as it's been run, we'll say, by the not-for-profits presently. Yeah.
Thank you. And could you see maybe, going further down the line, the wholesale acquisition, we'll say, of community settings? Could you see it going that way? That, because it is, the model, and because you're so open to different ways of management, could you see that there? Because generally, I suppose community-based settings are very supportive of this. It's more, kind of private providers might be a bit more concerned. This is just my own from listening to people. Could you see the whole, kind of moving completely over to taking over community settings?
Well, to be fair, I've always been clear that the state stepping in here is to complement what's there already, and certainly at this point that is the vision that we have. I want to acknowledge, different service providers and all of them making a very worthy and important contribution. And I include private providers there. I include the community. I include childminders. Everybody that's making a contribution. So this is to complement at this point what's there already, and to provide for what isn't there in terms of places.
Yeah. And thank you, Minister. And also, I suppose, just another concern, maybe, and this would be small independent providers, that a couple of people have raised with me that they're worried that if there is a public provision in their area, that they're worried about their own staff, whether they'll be able to, whether their staff will leave freely. And is there any way of addressing that? Is there any way maybe that, I suppose if there is a new provision, if there is new state-led service, people might be more inclined to work there. They might think it's, they'll get a security, they might... is there any way of kind of addressing that about staffing issues?
Well, even up to this point, I think we've made huge efforts in terms of staffing, because, and I would be the first to say it, we've a very ambitious programme around, additional places and costs for parents, but it will all come to nothing if we don't have the staff in place, because the staff are the most valuable resource we have in terms of running the service, providing the service and that. So we've worked very hard to support, and it would be my ambition to do similar going forward. Over the last 2 years, €90 million has been provided by the state, specifically directed towards improving wages for staff, retention, all of that. And I accept, the adjudication is by an independent body. I absolutely accept that. But in the first instance, this year we've put 45 million on the table, directed for the staff. And likewise last year. So I'm very conscious of that. We also have supports in terms of staff who might wish to move to a graduate qualification, where that's being supported as well. And, so it is our intention to continue to grow and support the staff. Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you, Minister. I just was wondering, is there going to be any provision for school-age childcare within this model?
Yeah, well, we would hope that what's been provided for here, like the first instance is the 1 to 3.
Yeah.
But that it would be in other words, that it would meet the needs of those children as they progress along the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there'd be something
that it would be a full time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But probably not maybe at the start. That'll be.
Well, we'll see. But the important thing is that it's a full service.
Brilliant.
You know?
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.